Financial Stability Board recently released its updated list of banks that are too big to fail, and JP Morgan Chase is at the top of it. The idea of too big to fail is puke-worthy, and so is the fact that JP Morgan is at the top of the list, because the bank is so sleazy. It makes me wonder what the hell the JP stands for. Jingo pigs? Just profit any way you can at anyone's expense? Here's the latest sleazy news about the bank. It just came out that it was paying $75,000 a month to the daughter of China's then prime minister, whose family has billions of dollars. They supposedly hired her as a contractor. I'd say she must be a damn financial wizard, but the truth is, she's not all that special, because JP Morgan loves to buy influence in other countries by giving money to rich people's kids to secure massively profitable contracts for themselves. They do it a lot. They also hired the daughter of a Chinese railway official. And magically, the bank secured business from the state-run China Railway Group. So now an investigation is underway to look at how JP Morgan is spending money to buy influence, because that crap is against the law under the 1977 Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. The act bars U.S. companies from giving anything of value to foreign officials to obtain an improper advantage in retaining business. I'd say $900,000 a year is something of value. I'd say that smacks of a bribe. That's just the latest JP Morgan disgrace. This is a bank that reached the top of the Financial Stability Board's too big to fail list through corrupt and probably illegal dealings.
Hi there, I'm Jared Howard.
And I'm Robert Nisbet.
You're tuned in to our update on banksters and the way that they're running this planet into the ground.
Yeah, I think there's two words that belong together, corruption and banking.
The root of all evil being the root of all banks. We see that China has jumped into the corruption pool and realized that to get anywhere, you have to bribe these bankers to do anything.
That's right.
So, it's not really their fault. It's a corrupt system that was set up. They're just using it for what it is. However, getting caught with a corrupt system could mean that you go to jail now.
Really? I haven't seen that happen yet.
Well, we're still waiting for it to occur in 2008. They did charge somebody and they're throwing him on trial. However, that's because he robbed the guys who robbed the world.
Yeah.
Irish bankers, however, have been caught and they are going on trial.
Actually, they're being prosecuted in Irish courts as we speak.
Check this out.
Arriving at court, William McAteer, one of three former executives of Anglo-Irish Bank, the collapse of which almost bankrupted the entire country. Along with Sean Fitzpatrick and Pat Whelan, they all denied the charges at Dublin Criminal Court in a trial that will track Ireland's fall from the boom years as the so-called Celtic tiger to bust.
The three executives are accused of giving unlawful financial assistance to individuals in 2008 in order to buy bank shares to boost the share price. Among the alleged recipients, Sean Quinn, once Ireland's richest man with a huge global property portfolio. But when prices crashed around the world, he was left owing billions.
It took nearly $40 billion of taxpayers' money to rescue the bank and the entire sector. Ireland subsequently needed an international bailout.
Well, the collapse of Anglo-Irish Bank cost the taxpayer between 25 and 30 billion euros, which in a country of just 4 million people, that's an awful lot of money. And ultimately, it was one of the factors that meant that the state couldn't sustain itself, and we needed an EU-IMF bailout.
Two executives, not those in court, were recorded laughing and joking about the size of the bailout. The trial, one of the most complex of its kind in Europe, could take 6 months.
So it's nice to see that the banking authorities, the regulators, are actually taking a look at the corruption that went on in the Irish banking system and virtually devastated the country's economy.
On Facebook right now, one of our favorite contributors from WTBN, Lynn Nichols, posted an awesome statement from Chinese officials stating that the American whole system of banking, the Federal Reserve, was corrupt because it was based on nothing.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. The American or the Western powers are wagging their fingers at people around the world saying we should be in charge. However, they're not really leading by example, at least not in my opinion.
Oh no, not in my or any thinking person's opinion. Of course, one day we will look back and see that the monetary system installed by the Federal Reserve held back humanity more than the Catholic Church did during the Inquisition era. And we'll be updating you on that since major media refuses to talk about it.
However, there is another banking institution, say it isn't so, under investigation for tax evasion, helping people hide their money and not pay taxes to the governments that they purportedly serve.
Can you say banksters going to jail? Check it out.
Shocking new allegations from the U.S. Senate implicate banking giant Credit Suisse in a scheme that helped hide billions of dollars. According to the Senate report, Credit Suisse managed about 22,000 accounts for U.S. customers. It's estimated that a special banking unit helped hide up to $10 billion or more, twice the amount previously thought in a recent history of corruption.
The Department of Justice filed an indictment against 7 Credit Suisse private bankers and also initiated a criminal investigation into the bank itself.
The report was compiled by the Senate Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations that detailed the secretive bank plot. The U.S. Senate criticized the Zurich-based bank and several other banks for not punishing executives that supervised and abetted in the massive tax evasion for U.S. clients.
It's been estimated that the U.S. has been deprived of $337.3 billion in potential revenue.
In some cases, clients strap tens of thousands of dollars in cash to their bodies to avoid air transit screeners and scanners. U.S. lawmakers are encouraging the Justice Department to use all of its resources to investigate criminal activity and expose the perpetrators of this widespread scheme. The result could be the discovery of hundreds of billions of dollars in hidden tax money. The Senate report also says the firm falsified reports to investors about the banking unit's growth. Experts say that's why U.S. banking policy, directed by Fed Chair Janet Yellen, is flawed. Credit Suisse is only but the latest revelation of banking improprieties involving U.S. customers. U.S. authorities say that at least 14 banks are under investigation for helping clients hide their earnings from the U.S. government. Colin Campbell, Press TV, Washington.
So Credit Suisse?
Yeah, I wonder, they may be feeling a bit of pressure from the U.S. government. I wonder if they'll actually do anything this time.
Well, we're hoping they are. LIBOR, of course, showed us a lot about the incredible way that international banking works. It's a Ponzi scheme of epic proportions. Please get informed about fractional reserve lending and the way that banks make money up out of nowhere.
However, there is a curious coincidence going on. Apparently, some bankers are feeling the pressure, especially the ones that are under investigation for high crimes against humanity.
Yes.
And they seem to be meeting untimely ends.
Untimely?
I wonder why.
Let's check this out.
Jamie Dimon and Lloyd Blankfein committing, engaging in, partaking in, colluding in a scheme that is bankrupting the economy and creating multiple generations of disenfranchised, angry citizens, while the rights of these citizens are being stripped to pay for this fraud. So what do you do about this? I mean, how do you react? I noticed, for example, there's no connection, from what I understand, but up to 20 bankers have recently been found dead. That's a fact. We've got the 4 or 5 known examples of banker suicides, and we've got reports now that up to 20 bankers have been found dead. So either A, these are bankers who were going to blow the whistle on Lloyd Blankfein, and he had him taken out, or these are bankers who have committed suicide because of the shame of being associated with Lloyd Blankfein. Imagine you're associated with Lloyd Blankfein and you know that your boss is committing a financial holocaust. Would you not be tempted to kill yourself? Is this not behind the rash of banker suicides around America and around the world? I think that's the cause.
Their untimely deaths grabbed headlines, 3 of which happened within a week. Be it the big investment banks they worked for, the senior positions they held, the public nature of their deaths, or all 3, once again it raised questions about an global economy to its knees in the 2008 financial crisis. Michael Taylor, a former Goldman Sachs bond salesman who calls himself a recovering banker, knew this world well.
It's so extraordinarily competitive and so focused, profit above all, and so transactional at every moment. Like extreme pressure turns carbon into diamonds, extreme pressure can both accelerate human achievement and in some cases break people.
The pressure in calling the shots.
The form of banking we've got at the moment has no interest in the people it affects because, in a sense, legally, they're responsible to investors and stockholders. You make amoral decisions.
Pressure to rake in profits or the pressure to put in more hours than your peers. After the spate of recent deaths, big firms did try to ease tension by telling their junior staff to take more time off, or at least to try not to work on weekends.
This is a deeply dysfunctional and utterly abusive system. So there's this real taboo in banking, like the army, to own up to one's vulnerability.
Tessa Arcilia, RT, London.
Die, bankers, die. Oh, did I say that out loud?
Of course, what do you say about 5,000 bankers at the bottom of the ocean? It's the same thing you said about lawyers in the 1980s.
It's a good start.
So, while we are taking a look at that, we do want you to get informed about fiat lending. That's the way that these banks, the banks that we shot in front of today, make money out of nowhere. When you have a Visa, they've made their money up out of nowhere. You've got a mortgage, they made the money up out of nowhere.
That
People do
sounds
not
an
know
awful
this.
lot like counterfeiting to me.
And the world's getting wise.
Yeah.
We're wise. Not really. Informed. How about that? I'm Darren Howard.
And I'm Robert Nisbet.
Thank you for keeping us informed by the posts coming in on YouTube and on Facebook. Make sure that you email Robert lots because he's got so much time while he's not producing this show. So make sure you keep your film rolling. Do not stop videotaping things like the cops, the banksters, and don't stop sending us your story ideas. We're on Facebook and on YouTube. And of course, we're coming up with more specials. Make sure you stay tuned.
We'll be back after these messages from nobody.
I am part of a lost generation, and I refuse to believe that I can change the world. I realize this may be a shock, but happiness comes from within is a lie, and money will make me happy. So in 30 years, I will tell my children they are not the most important thing in my life. My employer will know that I have my priorities straight because work is more important than family. I tell you this, once upon a time, families stayed together. But this will not be true in my era. This is a quick fix society. Experts tell me 30 years from now, I will be celebrating the 10th anniversary of my divorce. I do not concede that I will live in a country of my own making. In the future, environmental destruction will be the norm. No longer can it be said that my peers and I care about this earth. It will be evident that my generation is apathetic and lethargic. It is foolish to presume that there is hope. And all of this will come true unless we choose to reverse it. There is hope. It is foolish to presume that my generation is apathetic and lethargic. It will be evident that my peers and I care about this earth. No longer can it be said that environmental destruction will be the norm. In the future, I will live in a country of my own making. I do not concede that 30 years from now, I will be celebrating the 10th anniversary of my divorce. Experts tell me this is a quick fix society, but this will not be true in my era. Families stayed together once upon a time. I tell you this, family is more important than work. I have my priorities straight because my employer will know that they are not the most important thing in my life. So in 30 years, I will tell my children, money will make me happy is a lie, and true happiness comes from within. I realize this may be a shock, but I can change the world, and I refuse to believe that I am part of a lost generation.